Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. And today we have a session with Swati Arora, and the session is about Introduction to LWC. Over to you, Swati. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I hope all you are good. So first of all, I'm starting with my introduction. My name is Swati Arora. I am having around 10 plus years experience in corporate trainings. So right now I'm working in UST as lead to enterprise solutions in Salesforce practice. So let's start with today's session. I hope you all are able to see my screen. So
Yes, Swati, it is visible. Sorry, thank you.
Okay, so today's session is about introduction to LWC. So as you know that we have different ways to develop, you can say, front-end components in Salesforce. It's like a journey started with Visual Force, then Aura was introduced. Now from 2019, Salesforce has introduced front-end development framework, LWC. Okay, so agenda for today's session is we are going to cover what is LWC, why we are using LWC, and what are all tools used to develop LWC. Then we will see basically what is the LWC component structure, and then we will develop a small LWC component. So let's start. What is LWC? So LWC full form is Lightning Web Components, and it is a new programming model which is used to develop Salesforce Lightning Components. So although we have Aura with us, but yes, Aura has some limitation. Aura is a complete full-fledged framework. You have to understand framework. You have to understand the core concepts of framework. Then only you can say start with Aura components, right? But in LWC, everything is streamlined, and it is the framework which is already built using HTML and modern JavaScript. So you don't need to worry much about framework, just you have to focus about the concepts. What are the leverages, what are the, you can say, functionalities LWC is providing us. Just we have to focus on that. We don't need to worry about the internal structure of framework, unlike we are doing in Aura. And LWC component is, you can say, very fast as comparison to, you can say, Aura. And LWC components uses core web component standards and provides only what is necessary to perform well in browsers supported by Salesforce. So I already told you that there is no need to worry about framework. LWC components are basically developed on, using recent, like directly on the web stack. So whatever you can say features are there in recent web stacks. So if you compare 2014 web stack with 2019 web stack, so web stack is continuously getting updated. So whatever core advantages are, you can say, web framework is having, that is directly available in web stack. Initially what was happening, we have to develop framework according to the features of web stack, but now web stacks are, you can say, developed with all the features which are there in the different frameworks. So LWC is directly developed on the web stack. So it automatically inherits all the web features like shadow DOM, template, ECMAScript. Okay, all these terms are maybe new to you, but yes, once you start learning LWC, you will find these terminologies. Okay, what is shadow DOM? What is, you can say, modules? What are templates? That you will understand once you deep dive into LWC. But yes, LWC is developed directly on the web stack, so we don't need to worry about the framework features. Whatever features are available in web stack, that will be directly inherited by your LWC components. So why we are moving on to LWC? So right now Salesforce doesn't declare, you can say, Aura as obsolete, because what is happening, we can call LWC component, after developing LWC component, we can call it inside Aura. But vice versa is still not possible. We cannot call Aura component inside LWC. So LWC and Aura components can communicate with each other. So like LWC can send data to Aura, Aura can also send data to LWC. So there is proper communication channel we can provide between two independent frameworks. So yes, Aura will also move parallelly, but yes, most of the fresh projects, whatever you are getting in Salesforce, you will get in LWC. So why we are moving on to LWC? First point is obviously better performance. We always get attracted to those technologies which gives us better performance. So Aura is there, but if I compare performance, so obviously LWC is better in performance as comparison to Aura. Second is modern web standards. So I already told you that LWC is developed directly on the web stacks using the, so whatever features are available in web stack like Shadow DOM, custom elements, templates, modules, ECMAScript, all these are by default available in LWC. So third point is compatible with Aura components. So I already told you just now that LWC is fully compatible with Aura components. Aura components can communicate with LWC, vice versa. Vice versa is also possible. But yes, two types of communication can happen. Either you can nest LWC component inside Aura, or either you can put Aura component and LWC component independent on the Lightning pages. So they can behave as an independent component and then they can communicate with each other. There is one concept in LWC that you will learn later on in your LWC journey, and that is Lightning messaging channel. So with the help of Lightning messaging channel, independent Aura component and LWC component can communicate with each other. So they are still compatible. So visually you cannot distinguish that this is Aura component and this is LWC component. Visually they look and feel is almost similar, but yes, developer will know who is developing these components. He or she must be aware that, okay, this is Aura component, this is LWC component, but end user is not able to distinguish that this is Aura or this is LWC. Look and feel is almost similar. So fourth point is faster loading site. So obviously if your component is rendering fast on the browser, so obviously speed of your site, your website, or you can say your application will load faster. So better security, better testing, and better browser compatibility. So in LWC, for you have written test classes for your Apex codes. Similarly, you can write test cases for your component also. You can write test cases for your LWC components also. By there is again one concept, Jest testing framework. So Jest testing framework you have to install, okay, on your system. You can say you have to attach it to your Visual Studio, that I will discuss later on. But yes, the Jest testing framework is there, which helps you to test your components before pushing it to the production. Okay, so like we have Apex testing framework, similarly we have Jest testing framework, which helps us to test our LWC components. Sorry. So as comparison to Aura, LWC development is easy. Those who are into LWC, they must be aware that in Aura, like lots of all the files are there in LWC, but LWC is more precise as comparison to Aura, and easy to understand as comparison to Aura. So there is a myth that LWC is difficult as comparison to Aura, but no. If you start working in LWC, you will feel the difference. It is easy to write code in LWC as comparison to Aura, because LWC is more precise as comparison to Aura. So these are few points which leads us to you can say LWC. Okay. So now we have already discussed what is LWC, why we are moving on to LWC, and what are the prerequisites, or you can say tools used to you can say develop LWC. So right now, whatever development we are doing in Salesforce up to Aura, we are developing directly through org itself, but like from our dev console. But if I talk about LWC components, we cannot develop you can say right now using Salesforce dev console. We have to install additional tool that is called Visual Studio Editor, and for you can say for developing any stuff in Visual Studio Code Editor, Salesforce stuff, we need to install you can say Salesforce CLI. So let me show you. So this is Visual Studio Code Editor. You can just go and you can just Google out Visual Studio Code Editor. So you can download from here Visual Studio Code. So from here you can download according to your operating system. So this is the website code.visualstudio.com. Here from here you can install for Windows, for your Mac and for Linux also. Okay, so after downloading Visual Studio, a very important step is you have to install Salesforce CLI also. So Salesforce CLI is what? Salesforce CLI is basically Salesforce command line interface, which is holding all the commands, which helps you to do development stuff using Visual Studio. So you have to write the command that we will see. So again, this is Salesforce CLI. So that you need to install. Okay, again for Mac, Windows and Linux, accordingly you can install. So these are two prerequisites which you have to follow before starting development in Salesforce. Okay, because still there is a limitation. You cannot develop Lightning Web Components using Dev Console. So first step is you have to install Visual Studio Code Editor. Second step, you have to install, you can say Salesforce CLI. CLI is basically command line interface. Okay, so whatever development you want to do through Salesforce, suppose if you are creating Visual Force pages, creating Aura component, you have to write a command for that. So that command is available, you can say already packaged in form of Salesforce CLI. So after doing this, let me open my Visual Studio. I have already installed all these. So let me open my Visual Studio. So this is normal, you can say Visual Studio, which was initially used for development of ASP.NET, or you can say .NET codes. So this is my Visual Studio. So next step, what you have to do now, you have to make your Visual Studio ready for Salesforce development. So now commands are installed on your system, Visual Studio is installed on your system, but now your Visual Studio is yet not ready for LWC development. So you have to make your LWC ready for Visual Studio development. For that, what you have to do, you have to go over here. If you see extensions, and in extensions, you have to search for Salesforce extension pack. Here it is, Salesforce extension pack. So I have already installed. Okay, I have already installed this on my system. But yes, once you are installing Visual Studio first time, so you have to do it. Okay, you have to add this extension pack. This extension pack allows you to write Apex code, allows you to, you can say, have a debugger for your Apex code, replay debugger, Salesforce CLI integration, Aura components you can write, Visual Force you can write, Lightning Web Components you can write, SOQL you can write, SLDS you can also, you can say code. Okay, so all these features are available in Salesforce extension pack. So these are, you can say, very basic, you can say, requirement before starting LWC development. So now these 4 steps already I have explained. You have to install Visual Studio Editor, you have to install Salesforce CLI, then you have to add Salesforce extension pack. After that, what you have to do, you have to create your project folder where you will start your development. Okay, so for that I will go to Explorer. So from here, okay, now I already told you that whatever stuff you want to do in, you can say, in Visual Studio, you need a command. Okay, so you can remember commands if possible. You can write command by going to terminal window. You can write commands directly over here. If you remember, you can write commands over here. But yes, if you don't remember commands, you can go and you can press shortcut Control Shift P. So if you open Control Shift P, command palette will get open. This is our command palette. Control Shift P. This is our command palette. So first step will be, you have to create a project folder. So sfdx, create project. Create project. So you can create a standard project template, empty and analytics project template. Generally, we follow standard because in this folder we have different subfolders. So that will automatically get created if you choose standard project template. So I'm choosing standard project template. I'm giving here name LWC, suppose bootcamp. Whatever you want to give name, you can give, and then you can choose the folder where you want to hold it. So I'm choosing default, or I'm choosing, okay, I'm directly, one second. Create, I think I have to do create project, LWC, bootcamp. Okay, so if you see on the left hand side, folder has been created with name LWC bootcamp. And if you open this, there are lots of subfolders. If you open this force colon APP, so if you see, you can create lightning application, like Aura application, Aura components, Apex classes. You can, so there are different subfolders where you can segregate. Okay, right? Like if you're writing Apex code, so Apex code will be stored in Apex class, will be stored in classes folder. If you write Aura component will be stored in Aura folder. So there are different subfolders which helps you to segregate your code. So, okay. So I have created project folder. Now I'm going to my terminal window. So it is, you can say, suggested by Salesforce that you should keep updating your command prompt. Sorry, not command prompt, CLI. Okay. So for that, what I have to do, I will go here and I will write command sfdx update. Because Salesforce is continuously updating CLI. So it's recommended by Salesforce that if you are using your Visual Studio after, like it is better that you should continuously update your sfdx command prompt. So for that we have command sfdx update and I will hit enter. So if I am already on the updated version, it will now if you see, command line interface is getting updated. Initially the version was 7.13 something. Now it is getting updated to 7.15. Okay, so it is very important step because new features are introduced in the latest version of CLI, and if you are not updating your CLI according to the latest version, so you will lack some features. Okay, so it's better that once you are creating any project folder, it is not mandatory that you should do every day, but yes, once in a week you can update your sfdx. So it is updating. So meanwhile it's updating, let me tell you a few more points. Now this is Visual Studio. You can say Visual Studio is an external system, okay, external software. But now whenever I'm doing any development, I cannot, you can say, I cannot preview that course, preview that components directly from Visual Studio, although we have option. But yes, it is always recommended by Salesforce that you should push your component, you should push your development stuff to some org. Okay, to some org. So that org should not be production directly. Okay, so whatever development you are doing using Visual Studio, you should push your components or to sandboxes or to scratch orgs. Okay, scratch orgs. So we never push our development directly to production, and in real scenarios also we always develop in sandboxes or scratch orgs. So there is a big difference between sandbox and scratch org. Sandbox is just a replica of production. Okay, sandbox do not have any expiration time. Okay, sandbox will remain until it is not a key, it is going to expire after a specified interval of time. Okay, so sandbox is very you can say big sort of org like production, but scratch org is a temporary org. What Salesforce recommends that if you are working on Visual Studio and you have to test some components, you have to see execution of your component, so it is not recommended that always you should push your component to a sandbox. So what Salesforce recommends that you can go for a temporary org that is called scratch org, and you can for previewing your component, just you can push your component from Visual Studio to you can say scratch org, and you can preview your component directly over there. So it is not necessary that always you hit a sandbox. But yes, you should remember that scratch org will get expired after 1 month. Maximum life duration of scratch org is you can say 1 month. After 1 month, it is going to expire. Okay, so yes, if you have to continue with your development work, you have to create one more scratch org. The same scratch org you cannot use again because it is going to expire after 1 month. Okay, so now my CLI is updating. CLI is done. Now I am on the latest version of command line interface, that is 7.158. Now I remember sfdx update command, so I have written directly in the terminal window. But if you don't remember any command, what you can do, you can go to Control Shift P and you can find the list of commands over there. Now, right now, if you see here, it is written no default org set. That means right now my Visual Studio is not connected to any org. Okay, right now we are not connected to any org. So if you want to create a scratch org for any developer edition, okay, if you want to create scratch org for any Salesforce org, so what you have to do, you have to enable DevHub org. What you have to do, you have to enable DevHub org. Let me open my Salesforce org and let me show you what I am trying to say. So for a particular Salesforce org, you cannot directly create scratch org, scratch orgs. You have to do one explicit step. So what's that? So I'm logging into my developer edition. Okay. 1 second, let me put my verification code. So this is normal developer edition org. Okay, Salesforce org. So for this is like a production. Okay, so we cannot push our component directly to production every time for just previewing, because we never touch production directly. Okay, so if you want that for this org, we want to create scratch org. Okay, so that we can use that org as a temporary org to preview our components. Okay, so for that, what we can do, we can go here and we can search for DevHub. And here you will find, so what DevHub do, if you enable DevHub, it helps you to create and manage scratch orgs from the command line. So what are scratch orgs? These are basically disposable orgs, temporary orgs. And yes, you can preview your component. You can do some short time of development over there. Okay, so they will get expired after 30 days. So I'm enabling it. Once you enable DevHub for any production org, it cannot be disabled. It is permanently enabled. So this is the very first step. Okay, so for creating scratch org for this particular production, I am enabling this. So I have enabled, now it cannot be disabled. So now I will come back to my Visual Studio. And now what I have to do, I have to create, you can say, I have to authorize my dev hub org. Now this has become dev hub org. So what will be the next step? Next step will be, I have to authorize my dev hub org. Okay, so that I can create scratch org for that dev hub org from my Visual Studio. Okay, so first of all, I have to authorize my dev hub org. So for that, what I have to do, again, I have to command from, you can say our command palette, Control-Shift-P. And here you will find, see, authorize a dev hub. So I'm going here, authorize a dev hub. So here you have to give your production org credentials. Okay, and you have to authorize that org so that you can create scratch org for that particular org from the Visual Studio itself. So same credential, same org credentials which I have given right now. So allow. So if you come back to Visual Studio, so show, so it will write authorized, successfully authorized. Okay, so it depends on you. You can directly push your component to production, but not at all recommended by Salesforce. We never preview our component directly during the development phase. We never preview your component directly in the production. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create scratch org for this particular dev hub org. So for that, again, what we have to do, we have to go for terminal window, or you can say command palette. And here you will find command scratch org, create a default scratch org. So here, this is basically configuration folder for scratch org. And here you can give, you can say a temporary name to your scratch org, or you can say alias. So I'm giving, suppose, demo bootcamp. So if you see, enter the number of days until scratch org expiration. So by default, they have given 7 days, and maximum we can give 30 days. Okay, so right now I'm giving 7 days only. So it will start creating default scratch org for us. So all these steps are already mentioned in the trailhead also. If you search for Lightning Web Component Basics trailhead, so you will find all these steps over there. So these are the prerequisite. We have not started right now with development. We are just creating environment. We are creating a scratch org where we can preview our component after we are developing something. We want to preview it. Okay, so that we can only do, you can say, with the right now we are using scratch org. But yes, it's not like that you cannot preview your component directly to production, or you cannot preview your component to in sandboxes. You can do anywhere. But yes, right now I'm demonstrating you on scratch org. So we are done with scratch org. Scratch org has been created. Now, if you see here, automatically my Visual Studio is getting connected with the scratch org demo bootcamp org. This was the name of my scratch org. But if you click over here, there are lots of options. Okay, you can connect with production org, you can connect with sandboxes, you can connect with scratch orgs. Okay, 1 second. Okay, sorry for interruption. Yes, so we were discussing okay, so this is basically a scratch org which we have created just now. Okay, so our Visual Studio getting connected with Scratch org. So that means whenever I will push component for preview, it will automatically go to this org. Okay, so you can have multiple orgs, but at a time you can connect with single org. Okay, if you want to push your component to another org, you can choose from here. Okay, see, production org is also coming over here. Swati@healthcloudsuperbatch.com. Okay, so these all are basic steps. What we have done quickly, I will revise. We have installed Visual Studio, then we have to install Salesforce CLI, then we have to add Salesforce extension pack. Then we have to enable DevHub org, okay, so that we can create Scratch org for that production. Then we have created Scratch org and we have connected that Scratch org with our Visual Studio editor. That's all what we have done as for now. So if you see over here, so we have created project folder. We can connect with orgs, we can connect with Scratch org, we can connect with Sandbox, we can connect with production org. But right now I have demonstrated you on Scratch org. But yes, we can preview our component locally also. If you don't want to preview your component in Scratch org, but generally we don't prefer previewing our component locally because when it's come to like, it's because in viewing component locally, you don't have, let me show you locally also. But if you preview your component locally, what will happen, you don't have the background of your org. Okay, it is like simple web page where you can see your basic component structure. But if you want to visualize your component, that okay, how my component will look in production, because Scratch org and production are similar in look and feel. So that's why we always prefer Scratch org as comparison to previewing component locally. So now let's create one LWC component. So again, we have to go to our command palette and yes, we will write LWC component, create lightning web component. So you can give any name. So I am giving a name to it, bonus component. So it will automatically go inside LWC folder. LWC folder, and if you see bonus component, so inside if you see __test__test folder is also coming. Initially it was not coming automatically, but now from the recent you can say releases, this test folder is automatically coming, where you can place test cases for your component. If you are writing any test case for your component using Jest framework, that you can place inside the test folder, but this we are not discussing today. Okay, so if you see, by default, we are getting 3 files. This is folder, but files are 3: HTML file, JS file, and metadata file. So by default, when you add any LWC component, okay, by default, you will get 3 files: HTML, JavaScript, and metadata configuration file. But in spite of all these 3 files, you can add CSS file if you want to add. That you have to do explicitly. That will not be the part of your component bundle. If you want to add a CSS file, if you want to write any CSS code, you can do, and you have to write it explicitly with the same name as that of your component name. Dot extension will be CSS. That you have to do explicitly. Okay, but as a component bundle, you will get HTML file, you will get JS file, and you will get metadata file. So HTML file, JS file, it's clear. HTML is for designing, JS is for coding, and metadata file is basically for configuration setting, okay, related to your component. Okay, so let me show you first of all HTML. So very first root element is template. Template is again, you can say template is already defined on the web stack. So it is basically root from where we will start writing our component code. So this is design. So right now I'm taking h1 tag, style. I'm giving style over here directly. Suppose I'm giving color, font color. So if you see, help will also come. So I'm giving color, suppose blue violet. And here I'm writing welcome to LWC boot camp. Okay, so whatever designing you want to do, it will be always inside a root tag, that is template. Okay. So if you want to add any text box, so similar to, you can say Aura, we have lightning here, but yes, lightning colon input label, you can say, you can put simple okay, spelling mistake, lightning input label, suppose I'm giving enter new. So right now I'm not giving much spelling, but just I'm giving lightning, I think hyphen, not colon. Colon is in Aura. So I have added one H1, I have added lightning hyphen input. Okay, and whatever coding you want to do, okay, if you want to make something like Apex interaction code or something like that, what you have to do, that you will write in JS file. Okay, so HTML file is for designing, JS file for coding. So if you want to preview your component locally, what you can do, you can just right click and you can preview a component locally, but you can only preview component locally once you have installed local development server on your system. So for again that, if you see, there is a command start local development server. So you have to do that. Okay, start local development server. Then only you can preview your component locally. Okay, that means there is no need to push component to sandbox or scratch, or but it is not recommended. So allow access. Okay, so if you see right now, so this is not giving you look and feel of your lightning application. Okay, it is a simple web page. So this is the component, bonus component. If you click over here, you can just see you can say rough visualization of your component, but yes, you will not get look and feel of your lightning application. So here you can enter name. Okay, so although you are able to preview your component, but it is not giving you the look and feel of your Salesforce environment. Okay, so it's better that you should preview your component in the Scratch or sandboxes, or it's your choice, whatever you want to follow. Okay, but yes, you have to start local development server. So now I will show you how to push component to Scratch or. So this is my component and I am connected to demo bootcamp or. So just what you have to do, again, you have to go to command palette and here you will find command push source to default Scratch org, and override conflicts we can also choose. If any conflict is coming at the time of pushing the component to Scratch org, you can go with override conflicts also. So now my component is moving to Scratch org. Okay, but before that, again, a very important step which we have missed. So if you open your component, there is HTML file, there is JS file, and there is configuration file, metadata. If you open this file, okay, this is configuration file for your component. So right now, if you see, is exposed is set as false. So if you are pushing your component to Scratch or sandbox, this component will not be visible over there until you are not setting it to true. So it is very important that you have to set is exposed to true. Then only your component will be exposed to the connected orgs. Okay. And next very important thing is you have to set targets. Inside targets, you have to set what we can say target. So targets basically decide where your component will be accessible on the Lightning page. Okay, so right now I'm making it to lightning underscore homepage. That means if you want to preview your component in the scratch org, it will only be available on the homepage. Similarly, we have record page, we have tabs. Okay, we have community pages, experience builder sites. So it depends on you where you want to you can say preview your component. Okay, where you not preview, where you want to attach your component. Okay, so again I am pushing my component to scratch org. So targets are again very important. You have exposed your component, that is fine, but on which lightning page you are exposing, that is also important. So right now I am exposing my component to lightning home page. So similarly, I think there is some mistake in the code. So let me check for targets. So, and I will show you targets also, targets for LWC. So this is XML configuration file. So you can add multiple targets also. Okay, you can have home, you can have record page, you can have you can say lightning pages, community pages. So these are all targets. See, lots of app page, home page, record page, tab page, utility bar. So we have lots of options. In Aura we don't have much options, but in LWC we have lots of options. So targets, and inside target there is a subtag target, and in target we have to specify lightning underscore home page. I have specified. So what is the error? Let me check. So in Aura we have I think 4 to 5 targets, but in LWC we have more options. What is the error? Let me write this again. So is exposed to true, and then this is not targets. I should copy from here. Lightning. So enables a component to be used on home page in Lightning App Builder. We can specify multiple targets also. So now it's now component is pushed to scratch org. Now what we have to do, we have to open this default org. So what we can do again, Control Shift P, and we can go to open default org. So what is default org right now? Demo bootcamp org. So if I hit enter, so it will automatically open this scratch org for us. There is no need to put credentials and all that. It will directly open scratch for us, which is connected with our Visual Studio. Okay, so now I'm going to Sales app, because we have configured that this component will be only available on the home page. So if you go and like if you edit this home page, edit page, you will land to Lightning App Builder. And if you see in custom component, you will find your bonus component over here. So you can remove this and attach over your component over here. So this attachment work you have to do only once. So changes saved. Activation, I am making it assign as or default as for now. Save. Go back. Home. So if you see, welcome to LWC component, and this was the text box. So you will have the look and feel of your org, like how your component is placing in the real application. But if you preview your component locally, you will not get this sort of environment right now we have seen. Now, if you are making any changes in your component, so every time you have to push your component to the scratch org. Okay, then only you can preview. Suppose I am changing color from blue violet to suppose big. So what I have to do, Control Shift P and push source to default scratch. So only that file will go, although there are 3 files, but that file will only go in which you are making changes. Like JS and configuration file will not go again to scratch, or only HTML file will go in which you have made changes. So there is no need, just you have to refresh your page in scratch, or you will find the changes will be reflected. See. Okay, so that's all what we want to discuss. Demo component. So although you can add more JS files if you want to write some reusable codes, you can write CSS file, but by default in component bundle, you will get only 3 files, HTML, JavaScript, and configuration file. So configuration file is again very important because it is basically exposing your component to the orgs. Even for production org also, you have to expose your component. You have to decide where you want to attach your component, on home page, on record page. Okay, so we have around you can say we have around 8 to 10 you can say targets for your component. Okay, these. So that's all from my side for today. If you have any questions or any queries, you can post in the chat window. Okay. So let me answer a few questions. Okay, so Harika is asking, why does it have to be pushed to source or they're not deployed? Deploy option will only come when you are connecting your Visual Studio with production or sandbox. At that time, deploy option will come. But if you're working with Scratch, or you have push command will only work. That is, I think, already written by Gautam. Okay, one more question by Sumit. Can anyone directly learn LWC with any knowledge of Aura? Yes. You can directly learn LWC, but if you go to YouTube, there is you will find one tutorial, learn basic JavaScript for LWC. So you can learn some basic JavaScript concepts, because some basic JavaScript concepts will be used in LWC development. But for learning LWC, it is not necessary that you should learn Aura or Visual Force first. You can directly start with LWC also. In Aura Lightning, we can do everything in LWC, what we are doing in Aura. But the only one thing which we can't do, that is in Aura, we can call LWC component, but in LWC, we cannot call Aura component. That means containment can be done inside Aura, but in LWC, we cannot contain, you can say, Aura components. See, if you ask about companies, so in interviews, we are not sure. They can ask about Visual Force, they can ask about Aura. But yes, you can say, okay, I'm working on that. If you are learning LWC, it is very easy to understand Aura. So you can say, okay, we are learning LWC. But yes, it is easy to learn Aura also if you go through LWC. So that is not a big task. So once you create a scratch or once you create project folder, we have 2 options. Either we can create empty project folder, or either we can create project folder with manifest file. So if you are creating project folder with manifest file, it will copy some code from your production. It can copy data from your production. It depends how you are creating your project folder. No, there is no need to create project folder every time. Okay, you have to open your a Visual Studio and you can do development in the same folder itself. There is no need to create project folder every time. Even you can attach, even you can connect your Visual Studio with GitHub. So whatever codes you are developing in Visual Studio, you can directly push to GitHubs also. By default, Scratch or will not include CPQ and other managed packages. They are even not available in production orders itself also. You have to install it explicitly. Okay. Yes, Arshit, that's all from my end.
Yeah, thank you so much, Swati, and thank you so much for addressing the questions. So we have a Kahoot quiz as well after this session. So in case anyone has any doubt, please ping in the chat. And meanwhile, I can share the Kahoot link as well as the code from where you can join. So you can also join the quiz. And if someone wants to know anything more about LWC or some other doubts, you can please ping your questions. Thank you.
So if they are independent, Aryan, why should we call one LWC component in another? Then we will not make them independent, na? Okay, and if you want to call them, we can call. That is not a big thing. We can call one LWC component inside another. And even we can keep them independent also. But the way of communication will be different. If they are in containment hierarchy, so events will be used. And if they're independent, then PubSub or Lightning messaging channel can be used.
Harshit, if you're speaking on mute.
Oh, sorry, Sagar. So this is the first question for the day. Like, can we develop LWC components using developer console?
Don't put answers in chat window.
Okay. So how many files we get in LWC bundle by default? The answer is 3. Okay, we can go to the next question. Do you have a design file as a part of LWC bundle? Okay, so the answer is false. Okay, so there is some change in the leaders board now. In which file of LWC bundle we can set targets for component? So correct answer is metadata.xml, and majority of them got this right. Okay, so Rishikesh Kadam is maintaining the streak. Which is the root element of LWC HTML file? Okay, so the correct answer is template. Okay, so the leaders board is still maintained. And the last question for the day, can we launch LWC components on Lightning tab? Okay, again, majority of them got it right. So answer is yes, we can. And let's see who are the winners for the Kahoot. At number 3, it's Said. Congratulations, Said. Okay, number 2, Rushikesh Kadam. And there is some change in the leaders board. So Chirag Jain won the Kahoot. Congratulations, Chirag. And would request you if you can please drop your email in the chat so we can contact you and share you the amazing Salesforce swags. And thank you so much everyone for joining, and thank you Swati for being the awesome speaker with us.
Congratulations to all the winners.
Yeah, congratulations to Chirag and all the winners, and I hope everyone will have a great day ahead. Thank you.